जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय। Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, Conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. Text number 22. Sakrit yad darshitam rupam. Sakrit yad darshitam rupam. Sakrit yad darshitam rupam. Etad kamaya te anagha. Etad kamaya te anagha. Etad kamaya te anagha. Mat kamaha sanakaihi sadhu. Mat kama sanakai sadhu. Mat kama sanakai sadhu. Sarvan munchati hrit shayan. Sarvan munchati hrit shayan. Sarvan munchati hrit shayan. Sakridyad darshitam rupam. Etad kamayate naga. Mat kamasanakai sadhu. Sarvan munchati hritchayan. Sakridyad darshitam rupam. Etad kamayate naga. Mat kamasanakai sadhu. Sarvan munchati hritchayan. Any of the Matajis? Sakrit, once only. Yat, that. Darshitam, shown. Rupam, form. Etat, this is. Kamaya, for hankerings. Te, your. Anagha, O virtuous one. Mat, mine. Kamaha, desire. Shanakaihi, by increasing. Sadhu, devotee, sarvan, all, munchati, gives away. Hrit shayan, material desires. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O virtuous one, you have only once seen my person, and this is just to increase your desire for me, because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. Kindly repeat, O virtuous one, you have only once seen my person, and this is just to increase your desire for me, because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A living being cannot be vacant of desires. He is not a dead stone. He must be working, thinking, feeling, and willing. But when he thinks, feels, and wills materially, he becomes entangled. And conversely, when he thinks, feels, and wills for the service of the Lord, he becomes gradually freed from all entanglement. The more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires the hankering for it. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. Material service has satiation, whereas spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end. One can go on increasing his hankerings for the loving transcendental service of the Lord, and yet he will not find satiation or end. By intense service of the Lord, one can experience the presence of the Lord transcendentally. Therefore, seeing the Lord means being engaged in His service, because His service and His person are identical. The sincere devotee should go on with sincere service of the Lord. The Lord will give proper direction as to how and where it has to be done. There was no material desire in Narada, and yet, just to increase his intense desire for the Lord, he was so advised. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mokam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Recently, there was a news article about something which happened in Italy. There were photographs in the media, thousands of people walking on the streets of Italy. And everywhere they are raising slogans, having flags and all those kind of things. Protest march. What was this protest march about? This protest march had been organized in Italy by all the labor unions, because the people everywhere, there was a lot of resentment building up amongst the people everywhere in Italy, that they are being made to work so hard and they are not getting enough wages. The wage increments are not happening in proportion to the kind of work they are doing. And because of this resentment, the labor unions, they organized a strike, one-day strike of all different sectors, transport sector, medical sector, communication sector, etc., from all different government offices. Everybody struck work, walked out into the street. Today, no office. And all of them were raising slogans because they are very unhappy with the government's policies. The nurses were mentioning how the wages are so low for nurses in Italy that most of the nurses want to go abroad. They somehow get a job in some other country and go away. Now, those who are left behind, those who could not get a job abroad, they have to fill in for the vacancies which are lying. If there are, say, 10 nurses required, 10 nurses won't be there. Maybe 8 nurses are there, 6 nurses are there, whatever is there. So now, in the medical sector, you cannot say that my 8-hour job is over, I'm going. Nurse is not there, they have to fill in for that. So the nurses in Italy, they are having to work double shifts because not enough nurses are there. And so they are saying, if you don't increase the wages, people will keep going out, you won't have people here, and we who are staying here will have to work overtime, will have to do double shifts, and how can we survive? It is not possible. So they want the wages to be made commensurate with what is there in other countries so that people will stay and it will be a comfortable working environment. And so this is, they gave the example of the nurses, but they say this is true across all sectors in Italy. And so they had organized this massive protest. Thousands of people walking in the streets, they are filling the streets, they have all left the offices and got out. So it is not only in India that you see strikes and people, bus strike, trade strike, this strike, that strike, all kinds of strikes you see in India. It's not only in India. Even in foreign countries also, these kind of things happen. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, there is the description of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna had appeared on this earth 5,000 years ago. When Krishna was about 7 years old, he lifted Govardhan hill. And the next year, when Krishna was about 8 years old, he wanted to satisfy the desires of the gopis. And so in the middle of the night at Vamsivata, Krishna started playing his flute. And when the melodious musical notes of the flute reached the ears of the gopis, some of the gopis were tending to the children, some were feeding their husbands. Shri Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki jai. Some of them were feeding their brothers and parents. Some of them were dressing themselves, getting ready to retire for the night. Like this, all of them were engaged in different activities, household chores. The moment they heard the music emanating from the flute of Krishna, they dropped everything and they ran. They ran out of their homes towards Vrindavan, towards Vamsivata. When all the relatives of the gopis saw this, they tried to prevent them. They tried to stop them. Where are you going in the middle of the night? Women walking out in the middle of the night, it's not safe. Where are you going? You have to, what is such a big important thing that you got that you have to go in the middle of the night? They tried to stop them, but the gopis would not listen to anyone. They pushed aside everyone else and ran. Krishna is calling us, we have to go. And they left whatever work they were doing halfway, they left and ran. Some of them were not even properly dressed. They did not even have time to dress themselves. Some were having mascara in one eye, the other eye is empty, like that. So all of them ran and came to Krishna. And Krishna, when he saw them, he said, "Oh, all my gopis, you have come in the middle of the night. So this is not the right time to come into the forest. Forest is full of wild animals. And this is quite a dense darkness of the night you have come. Okay, daytime you come, still okay. But in the middle of the night you have come. No, you have to be safe. Go back to your homes." When Krishna started speaking like this, the gopis started looking here and there, as if, they were neglecting Krishna. Because Krishna is speaking like this. He only called them. After calling them, he is talking differently. So the gopis also showed their favor. They started looking here, there, looking at the flowers, the trees, the moon, etc. Then Krishna said, oh, looks like you have come to the forest to relish the beauty of Vrindavan forest in the moonlight. Now that you have seen, you have relished, please go back. All your relatives, your parents, your brothers, your husbands, they all must be looking for you. Please go back, go back. Then the gopis, they started, what is this? Krishna is treating us like this, and they started crying and all those kind of things. Then Krishna, okay, I was just joking, don't worry. And then Krishna took all the gopis and started walking on the banks of the Ganga, on the sandy banks of the Ganga. You know how Yamuna. You know how Yamuna Reta is? It's like silver. It's, that kind of color and very soft. So they started walking on the sandy banks of Yamuna. And when they were walking like this, the gopis started feeling a little proud that, you see, we are so fortunate. Krishna is personally escorting us and we are able to spend personal time with Krishna. Like this, they were feeling a little proud that we are the most fortunate people in the world. So Krishna, what he did, Krishna never likes the pride in any of his devotees. So suddenly Krishna disappeared. When Krishna disappeared, all the gopis, they started looking, oh, where is Krishna? Suddenly he has disappeared. And they realized that we became a little proud and that's why Krishna has left us. So they started walking inside Vrindavan in the forest, looking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They practically became mad in separation from Krishna. They started speaking to all the trees and plants and creepers. Have you seen Krishna? Has Krishna gone by this way? They started speaking to the grass, to the Mother Earth, everywhere, all kinds of living entities who are not expected to speak, they started speaking to them. They practically became mad. And they started remembering Krishna's pastimes and how Krishna protected them in different circumstances and how Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, how he killed Putana, etc., etc. Like this, all of Krishna's leelas, they started remembering. And then they started offering prayers to Krishna. That is the Gopi Gita in separation. One of the things that they told was, Suratanata te ashulka dasika. Oh Krishna, we are your maid servants, dasikaha. We are your maid servants. What kind of maid servants? Ashulka dasikaha. We are your unpaid maid servants. Our lives are dedicated to serve you without expectation of anything in return. So therefore you should come back to us. Because we are dying out of separation for you. And like this, when the gopis started praying to Krishna very pitifully, then finally Krishna again appeared. And when Krishna appeared, the gopis were relieved. Finally Krishna has come back. It appeared as if the gopis had got back their life. And then immediately they escorted Krishna. They put all their chundri or whatever was there on the soft sand of the Yamuna, and they made a sitting place for Krishna, and they made him sit, and Krishna had expanded himself. With each gopi, one Krishna was there. And they started massaging the lotus feet of Krishna. And then when they started massaging, again the gopis felt a little angry. Okay, we felt a little proud, but this Krishna should not have done this. He should not have disappeared like this and subjected us to so much torture. But then at the same time, they were a little careful, because already, once Krishna has left them and gone, so if they become too angry, then again Krishna will leave and go. Then again they only have to suffer. For Krishna, what is there? He'll leave and go. Who is going to suffer? Only the gopis. So the gopis started speaking very sweetly and indirectly. They spoke to Krishna and said, Krishna, actually we are not well versed in the Vedas and all that. So we have a doubt, one doubt. Please clarify. Will you clarify? Krishna said, yes, what is the doubt you have? The gopis said, you see, normally, and they are massaging the lotus feet of Krishna, and they are asking, normally we see in loving dealings in this material world, three kinds of people will be there. One kind will be, anybody loves them to the extent they are loved, they will reciprocate. Second kind is, even though the opposite party doesn't reciprocate, they will still love them. And third kind is, they will neither reciprocate nor they will act in a contrary manner. Means they will neglect. So somebody lovingly deals with somebody, some people, they will neglect. They will neither react favorably nor they will act contrarily. So why do we see these kind of dealings? Indirectly they are saying that Krishna, we love you so much and you left us and when you neglected us. So Krishna also immediately responded. Krishna said, the first kind of people who reciprocate with others based on whatever the other opposite person loves them, they are no better than merchants. What are merchants? You go to a merchant, you pay money, according to whatever you pay money, he will give you something in return. If you don't pay, he will not give you anything. That's how merchants are. Krishna said if somebody is reciprocating with another person to the extent the opposite party is loving him, then he is no more better than a merchant. The second class, Krishna said, are better than the first class. The second class who love the opposite party even though the opposite party may not respond. Even though the opposite party may be contrary, but this person continues to love. Irrespective of whether there is reciprocation or not, this second class of people are better than the first class. For example, a mother loves the child without any expectation in return. The child may grow up and reject the mother and go away, but the mother will never stop loving the child. This is better than somebody who loves only if he is loved in return. Krishna said the second class is better. The third class, who neglect. Somebody is loving you, but you are neglecting. In this, there are two subclasses, Krishna said. One is, they neglect simply because they have other material desires. Such people, Krishna said, are called Guru Druha. They are most sinful people. If, for example, the parents take care of the children, and when the children grow up, they neglect the parents and go away. Old people, who is bothered about them? I've got my life, I want to enjoy. Why should I listen to my parents? Such people are called Guru Druha. They are inimical towards their own superiors who have lovingly raised them. Such people will go to hell. This is extremely sinful. So Krishna also neglected the gopis, no? Then Krishna said there is a second class of people. The second class of people who neglect those who love them, they are Atma Rama, they are self-realized souls. So a self-realized soul, when he is completely situated in spirituality, on the material platform somebody loves him, his parents, his relatives, his brother, sister, all these people love him. He will not be bothered. He is not affected by these things because he is situated spiritually. For him, these material relationships don't matter. So, a person neglecting the love of another person may be because of selfishness, which is condemned. But if it is because of self-realization, then it's not condemned. And that is how a self-realized person takes sannyas. He neglects his family, he gives up his family, renounces his family, and goes away to practice spirituality. That is not condemned. Now, so, Krishna, of course, all self-realized souls are aspiring to realize Krishna, because Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. And there is no bigger Atma Rama, a self-satisfied person, than Krishna himself. So was Krishna neglecting the love of the gopis because he was self-realized? No, there is one more reason, an internal reason why Krishna neglected the gopis and he went away. That Krishna further explained to the gopis. Krishna told the gopis, Evam madartho jita loka veda swanam hivo mai what was that? Hivo mai anuvrittaye abalaha maya paroksham bhajata tirohitam masuyitum marhata tat priyam priyaha. So Krishna said that you see, priyaha, you are all very dear to me. All the gopis, they love Krishna and Krishna also loves the gopis. So it is not because of lack of love that Krishna neglected them. And Krishna said that Evam madartho jita loka veda swanam. For my sake, I understand, all you gopis, madarthe, for my sake, ujjita, you have given up. Loka veda swanam. You have given up the considerations of social customs, loka. That there is a woman at home, she has to be faithful to the husband, she should not associate, she should not have an illicit relationship with another man, extramarital affairs, they are looked down upon in the material world. These are all social customs. And then the gopis did not bother about these social customs. The Vedas also state, according to dharma also, a woman has to be chaste to her husband. She has to be faithful to her husband. If the wife or the husband is unfaithful to the spouse, then that is sinful. So according to Vedas, according to dharma also, a woman is not supposed to leave her family and go meet a man, another lover. But the gopis neglected the scriptural injunctions also. Loka Veda Swanam. Not only that, their own relatives, their own fathers, their own parents, their own brothers, sisters, children, their husbands, they left everything and came away. Krishna said, you have given up all these things. Madarte, for what? For my sake. Because you people love me. Madarte ujjita, madartho ujjita, loka veda swana. So you have given up all these things. Priyaha, therefore you are all very dear to me. You have given up all these things, sacrificed and come to me. Therefore you are most dear to me. So it's not that Krishna does not love the gopis. Then why did Krishna give them up? Maya paroksham bhajata tirohitam. I still, even though you love me so much that you have given up all the social customs, the codes of religion, your relatives, everything you have neglected and come to me, and I also love you equally. But still, maya paroksham, I disappeared from your sight. Tirohitam, I covered myself from your sight. Why? Because mad anuvrittaye, because I wanted to increase your love for me. And that's actually what happened. When the gopis, when Krishna disappeared from their sight, the gopis practically went mad in love of Krishna. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They became so intensely feeling that separation of Krishna that they started speaking to the birds, the trees, the creepers, the grass, the mountains. They started speaking to them. Where is Krishna? Please tell us. You see how their love for Krishna increased manifold when Krishna was separated from them. And for what are they doing? What are the gopis getting in return? Already the gopis said, Ashulka dasikaha. We are your maid servants without any remuneration. They are not getting anything in return. And in the very next verse, Krishna said that also. Na parayeham niravadya samyujam. O gopis, your love for me is so great, you have neglected everything and come away for my sake. But sadly, vibudayushapi vaha, even with the lifetime of Brahma, there is no way I can repay you. I can repay your love. You see, the love for Krishna amongst the gopis is so great. Even Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what is not possible for him? He is the unlimited Supreme Personality. All the Shaktis, all the energies, unlimited energies are there waiting to serve Krishna. And Krishna is saying, I cannot repay your love. So the gopis' love for Krishna will never get repaid. And they are also not expecting also. But still, when Krishna gets separated from them, they feel even more intensely their love for Krishna will increase. They never feel satiation. They do not feel what to do. So much we are loving Krishna, but nothing is coming in return. This love is useless. Divorce Krishna. No, their love for Krishna only increases. If Krishna neglects the gopis' love for Krishna will increase. You see the difference between material service and spiritual service. In the material world, you look at Italy, the people, they are going on strike. Why? Because they are saying, you are forcing us to work so much more. We are having to do double shift. What is this? We don't want to work but double shift. One shift is enough. After that, we want free time. And over and above that, we will work only 5 days, 2 days off. Over and above that, every year we want one vacation. So we want break in our service. This is the nature or characteristic of material service. Material service, you get satiated. 5 days in a week you work. After that, you will be waiting. When is Saturday coming? Friday comes. Finally week is over. And Monday comes. Monday has again come. Again I have to go to office. What to do? But you see, service for Krishna, Prabhupada is explaining here in the purport that there is no difference between Krishna's personal presence and his loving devotional service. When we engage in service to Krishna, there is no cessation. You do not want that only 8 hours I should work. No double shift. Only one shift I will work. Beyond that, if we work, all devotees will go on strike. Has that ever happened? You will see none of our temples devotees will ever go on strike. But they are working. They will be working 1 hour, 2 hour shifts also. Recently, Hyderabad, we had the installation of the Radha Govinda deities. Devotees were all working overnight. Forget 2 shifts. Many of the devotees did not even sleep. For 2-3 days continuously they are working. And if you look at their faces, all, this one so much resentment on their face, and they're all very angry and upset, and no, all of them were happy, smiling they are doing. They are even more joyful than on a normal day. Why? Because complete engagement in Krishna, not even time to sleep. All the devotees are happily engaged. This is the nature of devotional service. Devotional service, you don't feel satiated, you don't want a break. Our devotees, the devotees in the temple, they work 365 days a year. No holiday. Every day you have to come for Mangalarati. Every day you have to go for your service. Pujari means every day he has to be there. Cook has to be there in the kitchen every day. Imagine in our temples, if we started giving leave for the cooks, 2 days, Saturday, Sunday off, what will happen? Whole temple will have to fast for 2 days. Good for health. But never happens. The cooks are going on cooking, whether it is summer, whether it is winter. They are going on cooking every day without fail. The pujaris are coming and doing arati every day without fail. The devotees are going out for collection every day without fail. Devotees are going out for their preaching activities without fail. Everybody is engaged in their service. In fact, if one day you call all the devotees and tell, imagine, temple president calls all the devotees in the temple and he tells, from now on, we are going to introduce a 6-day week. 1 day off for all of you. What will happen? There will be a revolt. Why are you doing this? How can you stop us from doing service 7 days a week? There'll be a strike in the temple that why you are not allowing us to serve 7 days a week. That will be the strike. In Italy, they are striking. Why? Because you are forcing us to overwork. And here, if you tell them don't work, there will be a strike. Exact opposite, you see. Why? Because the nature of devotional service is you never get satiated. You want to do more and more and more. And if you don't get an opportunity for service, you will go mad. Why no service for me? This is the nature of devotional service. And that is why the gopis, when Krishna left them, they became even more hankering after Krishna. They did not become upset with Krishna and leave and go, oh Krishna, you left, we are also leaving and going. No. Their hankering only increased. Similarly, Krishna also is telling Narada Muni here, Sakridyat darshitam rupam. Just for a brief moment, Krishna revealed himself in the heart of Narada Muni when he was meditating. And then he disappeared. And when Narada Muni was trying again and again to see that form again and again, he was trying to meditate, he was not able to see. And then the Lord announced to him, Narada, actually, you are not qualified to see me, but still, I gave you a darshan, short darshan, and then I removed myself from your sight. Why? For what reason? Etat kamayate anaga, to increase your hankering for me, I have done this. And why, and what, when a devotee hankers like that for Krishna in his absence, when a devotee hankers for the service of Krishna, constantly is looking forward, when will I get an opportunity to serve Krishna? When will I get an opportunity to serve Prabhupada's mission? He is hankering for that. What is the effect of that? Matkamah shanakaihi sadhu sarvan munchati hritchayan. The effect of that is, the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. All the material desires will go out of the heart. Our heart will become filled with spiritual bliss. That bliss we experience when we engage in service to Krishna, that bliss is what actually keeps pulling us. It keeps pushing us to do more and more service. And when we do more and more service, what happens? We get more and more happiness. And that is why Hyderabad temple devotees, 2 days, 3 days, they have not slept. But because they are engaged in the service of Krishna constantly, their hearts, they are feeling constant bliss. So they are not feeling any resentment. They are not feeling this one. Why the management is pushing us to do this overtime? They can't think of us that we have to sleep also. Inhuman. No such thinking. They are actually, their hearts are filled with happiness. There in Italy, double shift kiya. Double shift means 16 hours. Another 8 hours is left for you. They went on strike. And here 3 shifts. 24 hours working. 3 days, no sleep. And the devotees are jumping and dancing and happy. Their faces are filled with happiness. And we are going and asking the devotee, why don't you go and take a little rest? No problem, Prabhu. I'll do later. No, this one. Now service has to go on. DTs have to get installed. That is more important. You see how devotees are. So when we engage like this, what happens is our material desires vanish. Even our desire to sleep also goes away. Desire to sleep, have proper rest, have proper food, even these things will reduce. Bodily demands will reduce. Our material desires will reduce. And when our material desires completely are removed from our heart by such engagement in devotional service, then we become eligible to go back to the spiritual world. So therefore, Prabhupada engaged all of us devotees in the service of his mission 24/7, 365 days a year. Prabhupada never instituted any free time for the devotees. Devotees' time, whole day has to be filled with service. Morning Arati, Mangalarati, then chanting 16 rounds, then hearing Bhagavatam, then going out on different services or doing some service in the temple. Morning till night, you go to bed, constantly you will be engaged in service. If some devotee is sitting idle, immediately the temple commander, the temple president will call him and ask, why you are sitting idle? No service today? What service you are doing? Why you are sitting idly? And if you are sitting idly, we will call you and tell you, go and do some service. You are having free time? Come, I'll give you some service. Why? Because the more you engage in service, the more the material desires go out of your heart. That is the training Prabhupada is giving to us in this institution. 24/7, 365 days a year, be engaged in Krishna service. That will clear out all the material desires in our heart, and we will become eligible to go back to Godhead, to Goloka Vrindavan. Just like Narada Muni, by that hankering, increased hankering he developed for Krishna, what happened? Next life he became Narada Muni. In this life, what Narada Muni is describing, he's just an ordinary boy of some maid servant in some nondescript village. Practically nobody. And simply by developing that hankering for Krishna, what happened? All his material desires vanished, and his mother died as a small 5-year-old child. Panchahayana Arbakaha, small child, small boy, 5-year-old boy, his mother died. What was his reaction? Krishna's blessing, one material attachment of mind taken away. You can imagine. So much detachment in the heart of a 5-year-old child. How? Because of his hankering for Krishna. And that hankering further intensified by Krishna by appearing before him and then for a few seconds and then disappearing again. And so, because of that intense hankering from Narada Muni, what happened? Next life, he became Devarshi. He became the sage amongst the Devatas, whom even the Devatas would bow down. Wherever Narada Muni goes, he is highly respected. Even if he goes to the assembly of Indra, he will get up and he will offer obeisances to him. What a transformation. And nobody, son of a maidservant, no education, sitting in some far-off village, whom nobody even knows such a person exists. Next life, he has become Devarshi. All the Devatas are offering obeisances to him. How did this transformation come about? Simply by hankering for Krishna. Narada Muni did not engage in deep study of the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras. He did not take up sannyas. He did not do any of those things. Simply he increased his hankering for Krishna. So the whole process of Krishna consciousness, the morning program, the services that Prabhupada has given us, the facility to live in the temple of Krishna, the facility to render service in the temple, the observance of various festivals, deity worship, all these things Prabhupada has designed and given us. What is the intention? To increase our hankering to serve Krishna more and more. And when that hankering becomes intense, then all our material desires will vanish from our heart. So to become free from material desires, we do not have to do anything, any big gymnastic is not required. Simply we have to engage in service according to the instructions of Prabhupada. Do our sadhana, chant our 16 malas, follow the 4 regulative principles, hear Bhagavatam every day, read Prabhupada's books, and in the temple, whatever service is given, do that service sincerely. We should always be hankering, when will I get an opportunity to do my service? That should be what should be running in our mind all the time. And that will make us eligible to go back to Godhead. And this is the training that Prabhupada is giving us, all of us, in this moment. So, like Narada Muni, next life we will also be able to get a spiritual body and go back to Godhead if we simply engage all the time and energy at our disposal in serving Krishna, in serving Prabhupada's mission. So I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.